Hello, beautiful souls. I am here today with the amazing name twinny, Leanne. Hello.
Name twins.
So, we decided it was going to be super juicy for us to share a little bit about what your experience has been of the frequency work that we've been doing together. So, would you like to give a little bit of background as to how you kind of came to be working with us? Obviously, I came to you first, so it's kind of been that juicy little collab kind of situation.
But that's always the best because I feel like so many women in my world, Amanda, who is now my photographer, client of mine. Megan was a client of mine since 2020. She's now my like video edits for me. And I feel like that's the most magic thing about like the world that we create for ourselves is we attract people into our world. Like I attracted you into my world, but it became very clear to me like after meeting you and then knowing more about your work that I was like, hi, like I want to know more about what it is that you do. And I think that, it was in October that I was like, hey, I messaged you and was like, hey, I would love to do a session with you. Like, what would that look like? I would love to actually like firsthand experience the work that you do. And that's where like the magic started for me in terms of exploring the work that we're like now doing together. So I'm so excited to share a little bit more about that.
Me too, me too. And it's literally just the tip of the iceberg. And it's been such a joy working with you. Obviously, a woman of your caliber that really kind of takes this work to the next level. Amazingly exciting for me and for the frequencies that I get to channel as well. So, what would you say has been the juiciest piece so far? Because obviously we've done two sessions together, haven't we? Do you want to talk a little bit about kind of your experience so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it was so powerful because I came in, like, I haven't really done this type of, I'm not new to energy work. Like, I'm big into breath work. I've done all different modalities, whether it come to like hypnosis and like all the things around, trying to tap into my internal magic because I know that the reason for my success is my internal world. And I also know that the cap that we sometimes experience in our success is often internal, that we need to shift to create that external result. And I think the biggest thing for me is having done so much different stuff that everybody always teaches and does around energetics and frequency work. One of the things that I loved about you and was so magnetized to was that you just have such a different approach to something that I hear like commonly taught by other people. So I feel like most people are focusing on like energy work from like a very 3D approach, like what you would call 3D approach, like a very human approach of like breath work, all of these things. And I think you are able to go to different levels within those modalities and tap into different frequencies. But I required and was craving a different depth of connection. And it was like this thing within me that was nudging me. And I remember saying this to you, but and it was crazy, like what came up for me in our first session. But there was this nudge around, you need to go deeper. Like it is almost like this is surface level and you don't do anything surface level. So why are we doing energy work surface level? And I came into the session, like, not really having experienced your work before, not knowing what to expect and not even needing to, like this trust of like, you're nudged. My intuition never leads me astray. So we did that first session and it was honestly, I remember I've got full body goosebumps thinking about it. I remember like saying to you, I don't even have the words to articulate how I felt. And I honestly, my whole body right now is covered in goosebumps because I had no idea what would come up for me or the shifts that I would experience that I experienced in that first session with you. And then also in the second, but that first session was like, I cannot even begin to articulate how transformational it was. And I was like, I just remember I was in floods of tears, but from such a abundant, incredible place. And we did that first session. And what was so powerful was how deep we got so quickly. It was like, and I remember saying this to you, I was like, I just feel like you just handed me the keys to the universe. Like, I was like, I feel like there was one point where I remember saying, and I told you at the end, but I was like, it felt like my inside of my chest space felt like so open that it felt like you were looking at the universe, at the solar system, like stars, and like, how there's like a limitless amount of space. I came away from it feeling like that. And I had been feeling so restricted and so my heart space did not feel like that. There was not space. There was restriction. And what was really interesting was there are things that came up for me in that session that I wasn't even really fully aware were actually blocking me. And the emotion that was released in that session and what I was able to actually release in that session was so deep and so powerful. Like I think we did like 90 minutes total. And I just came away feeling completely expanded. And like, I just done like just the crazy amount of like heavy lifting that I needed to do to go to my next level. And it was like, I remember I came to you in October when I was like, I'm feeling this like external capacity thing. And it's like frustrating me because I know I could be earning so much more and I'm earning great money, right? It was like, I was earning like between $150,000 and $200,000 a month. It's no small figure, but it was like, I knew that my potential was so much bigger and that I was just scratching the surface of what I wanted to do. No coincidence that November then ends up being over a $300,000 month. And I remember messaging you and being like, hey, I've done over 300K this month and I feel so much lighter. I feel this like internal capacity increase, and it's my external world didn't feel restrictive. It was like I opened up space internally and it felt like it had opened up space externally, even though in some ways my workload was the same, but it felt different. And it was like I was just in this expanded energy. And I remember messaging you. For all of you, I remember messaging you and I was like, I am literally like, when can I do my next session? I was like, I feel like I'm addicted to that feeling. I was like, oh, I want that feeling again. And it was like, okay, now I'm realizing. And I remember you said this to me, and this was what was so powerful for me. You were like, this is the work, because what I want you to be able to do is access that feeling like without me. And that's what your work does. And I knew that it wasn't going to be as simple as like doing one session and being able to like tap into that. And so strategically, then I obviously messaged you because I knew I was going to New York. I had this massive November, but I also knew that I was being called to go deeper with this work, go deeper into myself, go deeper into my connection with source. I'd been nudged for a while to like reconnect with that connection to God, to source, like whatever you want to call it. And that first session that we had, I had that. And then I was like, okay, I started doing things and integrating in that space in between. Obviously had this huge November, but I also felt called to do more of the work. And what was so cool was then we did the session in New York when I was in New York, and it was my final day. It was when I had nothing on my calendar. I was in the plaza in the penthouse. And oh my God, we should show like the picture of me. I was like, yeah, I'm like, I had no makeup on. Like I was like sat in the bed in a robe, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And we did that session in such and again, it just like shifted me. And it was like, it was just a different level. It was different. There was incredible depth that came from it, and the biggest way I can describe it is like that I felt so connected to myself. And it's like the more connected to myself I feel, the more success I experience externally. And you are like the bridge. You are the bridge for that. Like you are the person holding space. And there's just this deep sense of like trust and safety that I can't really explain to people. It's like you need to work with Leanne to experience it, but it's like you hold space in a way that I've not really experienced from other people, where I feel cracked wide open, but in the most like safe and secure way, and not in a way that leaves me coming away from it feeling like overwhelmed with what do I do with this, but in a way that within the session we process those things, and it's almost like strategic. It's right. It's like, you think this work is like you're going to come away just like with no tangibility. But what I love about the work that we do, and I'm a really strategic, very highly tangible person, is it actually is very like processed. There's a process to it, and it cracks you open. You shift the things that you need to. You highlight. You create more expansion. You create more connection. It highlights to you. It gives you clarity on like, oh, that's what we need to do here. You're able to go away and integrate, and then boom. This was at the beginning of December, by the way, that we do this next session. I then have a $27,000 December. And again, feeling more connected to myself, feeling a deeper sense of trust to myself, and able to make decisions that are in alignment with like my highest good, and that yield incredible results. And, you know, it was that point that I'm like, okay, there's no way that we can't continue to, like, this has become a non-negotiable for me of like, every month I need that, because I'm a big believer that like, you're at what you do externally when you make these decisions. It was like I made decisions in Q4 of last year that like, I'm not here to play like here. I'm here to like go all out. And this big audacious life requires for me to externally commit to that and do the work that I know is going to create more of those results. And that's, you know, people love to invest in stuff, but for me, it's like, this is the place where it's like internal capacity is going to create the external results all day long. Internal connection to myself is going to create the results. Internal connection and trust, and really bringing to the surface that's holding you back. And at every new, you know, if you're earning great money and you're watching this, you know, it's like, it's different problems, like it's different things that come up that become harder for you to talk about, you know? And I think for you, it's like, that was the coolest thing about coming to you, is like, I've been able to share things and share in your sessions and in the way that we do them in a way that is like so safe that I can say things that I'm not afraid of being judged, and I'm not afraid of like what that means about me. I'm actually able to look at what's going on underneath that and create just such a deeper connection to myself in the process, which immediately makes me more attractive to people and money and ideal clients, because we want to buy from people that we trust, right? And that means you need to trust yourself for somebody to trust you to buy. So I've loved my work with you, and I'm so excited for the magic that we're going to make over the next 12 months.
Oh, me too. Me too. And honestly, I keep saying to everyone, I need a new dictionary, because there's not words to describe like the magic that comes through.
But and that's why I said to you, I was like, I feel like you just gave me the keys to the universe. Like, and it's, for me, it is even hard sometimes to articulate the level of work that you do. But if you're somebody that's desiring the deepest level of self-trust that you can access, the deepest level of connection to self, a connection to source, to God, to universe, whatever you want to call it, which is just a human need. Like we need that to thrive and to feel connected to something that's bigger than us. It's like there is just this different level of connection that you're able to access in your world. And if you're requiring and desiring open space internally so that you can create all of this space externally to make magic, it's like, that's where expansion, like literally your work is expansive because it expands your internal world. It removes anything that's like sticky and blocking you, and it really opens you up so that you do feel like all of a sudden you see unlimited space, not the limitations that you're currently experiencing, like in your human self, and that your human self is focused on. But it's deeply powerful, deeply potent, and honestly just life-changing. So powerful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this, and thank you so much for being so open and willing to share about your experiences, because it is very personal, and it's very, you know, it touches us at the deepest level. You know, this is soul deep work that we're doing, and so much gratitude for you to just playing at this level. It's just such good fun, and B, sharing about your experiences. So thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me. And if you're thinking about working with Leanne, like honestly, do it. The best thing I ever did. And success gets to be so much fun, and it's so much more fun when you're connected to yourself and you're connected to your soul mission. And her work really transcends like anything that I'm really seeing anybody do in this space. So don't think about it. You should do it.